On the island of Sodor, there are lots of engines. Some are steamies, some are diesels. Sometimes diesels and steamies are not the best of friends, but they all want to be really useful. One morning, Gordon was taking passengers to Brendam Docks. Diesel, Harry, and Bert were shunting flatbeds. They clanged and banged loudly. That made Gordon grumpy.
Out of my way! Express coming through!
That made Diesel devious.
Out of my way! Flatbed coming through! You think you're so grand, but you're not!
Gordon glared at the Diesels.
I am Gordon. I am blue and grand. You are smelly diesels. You are yellow and stripy. Yellow and stripy is not grand.
Gordon sniffed snootily. Then he whooshed forward grandly, straight into Diesel's flatbed. Gordon's buffer was bent.
Oh, the indignity.
The Diesels chuckled and chortled. Then the dock manager arrived.
Gordon, you must deliver some engine parts to the dieselworks.
Gordon grunted. The Diesels giggled.
Then you are to pick up more passengers here at the docks.
So Gordon was uncoupled from the express. Later, Gordon steamed snootily into the dieselworks.
Engine parts coming through!
Gordon was far too busy being snooty to see the freight car on the tracks in front of him. Gordon hit the freight car with a smash and a bash. With a clang and a clatter, Gordon's buffer crashed onto the tracks.
Bust my buffers!
Den and Dart were surprised.
I don't think that was meant to happen.
What he means is, you need fixing.
We'll fix you.
Gordon was surprised.
Diesels can't fix a steamy. That's impossible. Only steamies fix steamies. I must puff away. My pistons still pump, and my wheels still whir. Goodbye.
And Gordon steamed away without a buffer. But outside the dieselworks, Gordon met Mavis.
Oh my, Gordon! Whatever has happened to your buffer? You can't puff on without a buffer. It's not safe.
Gordon tried to grin.
I'm sure I'll be safe, Mavis.
No, you won't, Gordon. Chuff back at once. Den and Dart will fix you in no time.
Gordon didn't want to chuff back, but Mavis was stern.
Very well, Mavis.
And Gordon huffed back to Den and Dart.
We thought you'd be back.
We found just what you need.
Follow us!
Gordon grunted.
Come along, Gordon.
So, Gordon did as he was told. In the shed, Den and Dart whirred with pride.
This is your new buffer.
What he means is, it'll be your buffer while we fix your old one.
Gordon stuttered and stammered. There was a yellow and black stripy diesel buffer.
This is for diesels.
It's good.
It's grand.
It's a buffer.
Gordon groaned.
Oh, the indignity.
Don't be silly, Gordon. Goodbye.
Gordon huffed huffily.
I was right. Diesels cannot fix steamies. I must go.
And Gordon steamed quickly away. But outside the diesel works, Gordon met Salty.
Howdy-do, me hearty. Shiver me axles. You've no buffer. That'll never do.
Gordon groaned.
I'll be fine.
An engine's not an engine without a buffer. Them's the rules of the railway. Chuff back quick, me hearty.
So, Gordon grumped grumpily and chuffed back to Den and Dart. They were waiting with Gordon's new buffer.
It's ready.
Just for you.
Gordon shuddered and shuddered.
Oh, the indignity.
Later, Gordon huffed huffily away to the docks to pick up his waiting passengers. The yellow and black buffer was bold and bright, and very like a diesel.
I shall pick up my passengers faster than fast. I hope the docks are quiet. Then no other engines will see me.
But the docks weren't quiet. They were busy. There were lots of engines to see Gordon with his yellow and black stripy diesel buffer. Diesel clattered over.
Honking horns, Gordon. You're Gordon the Diesel now.
Gordon felt terrible.
I'm not Grand Gordon. I'm yellow and stripy. I am Gordon the Diesel.
Thomas puffed over.
What's the matter, Gordon?
My buffer fell off at the dieselworks. Den and Dart gave me this while they fix my bright, shiny, steamy buffer.
Thomas was surprised.
Bubbling boilers, Gordon. I didn't know diesels could fix steamies. That buffer means you can still chuff and puff.
That made Gordon stop huffing.
Bust my buffers. You're right.
And Gordon puffed slowly away with his passengers. Gordon clickety-clacked along the tracks. Now everyone could see Gordon with his yellow and black diesel buffer. But Gordon didn't feel silly anymore. He was happy to be seen.
I have been fixed by the diesels. I am safe. I am Gordon, and I can still pull the express.
Hooray for Gordon and the Diesels! Hooray!
Gordon smiled.
Yes, indeed. Hooray for me! And hooray for the diesels!
At last, Gordon puffed into the diesel works. He had dropped off his passengers, and everyone had cheered his yellow and black stripy diesel buffer. Dan and Dart were waiting with Gordon's bright, shiny, steamy buffer.
You won't have to run away anymore.
What he means is, we fixed your buffer.
Gordon smiled his very best smile. Dan and Dart were surprised.
I was silly, and maybe just a little snooty, to think diesels can't fix steamies. You can, and you have. We are, I see now, all engines together.
What's he saying?
Dunno.
I'm saying thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
And you're always welcome here, Gordon. Buffer or no buffer.
And that made Gordon the Grand very happy. On the island of Sodor, all the engines are very proud of their railway. They want everyone to know how proudly they puff, how hard they huff, and how cheerfully they chuff. One morning, the engines were at Tidmouth Sheds. Their boilers were bubbling. They were ready to work. Then Sir Topham Hatt arrived.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir Topham Hatt was holding a big book.
I have something to show you all. It is a book called Great Railways. Inside, there are lots of photographs of really useful mainland engines.
The engines whistled with wonder.
Today, a photographer is coming to Sodor. He will take photographs of you all. The photographs will go into Sodor's very own Great Railways book. You all have jobs to do. Puff proudly and huff your hardest. And don't delay. The photographer must leave by tea time.
The engines were very excited.
I hope the photographer will take some photographs of me delivering the mail.
I'll be photographed because I am the brightest red engine on the island.
And I will be photographed because I am the #1 tank engine.
No, Thomas. I will be photographed more than you because I am Gordon. I'm fastest and best and pull the express.
And Gordon puffed grandly away. Thomas was cross.
Gordon won't be photographed more than me. I'll make sure of that. But first, I must hurry to start my jobs at Farmer Trotter's farm.
And Thomas puffed quickly away. Thomas clickety-clacked along the tracks. The pigs from the farm snorted and snuffled. Suddenly, Thomas saw Percy ahead. And he saw the photographer. Thomas's firebox fizzed.
The photographer is waiting to take a photograph of Percy. If I hurry, I can be in Percy's photograph.
Thomas pumped his pistons and raced up to Percy. Just as the camera flashed.
Bye, Percy! Flash, bang, wallop!
Percy was so surprised, he bashed and crashed into a siding and straight into a heap of coal.
Flatten my funnel.
But Thomas didn't know. He was too busy feeling pleased with himself. Thomas puffed through Marin Station towards Farmer Trotter's farm. Gordon thundered by with the express. Thomas smiled.
I'm sure Gordon hasn't been in a photograph yet. I must find the photographer again.
Further down the track, Thomas found the photographer. He was waiting to take a photograph of James.
If I wish and whoosh, I can be in James's photograph.
Thomas's wheels whirred. He raced up to James, just as the camera went flash.
Bye, James! Flash, bang, wallop!
James was so surprised, he hit the buffers, and his wheels bounced off the track.
Rattle my rods!
But Thomas didn't know. He was too busy feeling pleased with himself. Thomas chuffed up to Farmer Trotter's farm with the pigs. Gordon steamed by.
I've been in 2 magnificent photographs.
Thomas's boiler bubbled.
I must find the photographer. If I hurry, I will be in more photographs than Gordon.
So Thomas chuffed slowly back towards Tidmouth Sheds. He was looking for the photographer. Then he found him. The photographer was waiting to take a photograph of Henry. Henry was about to go under a bridge.
If I wish and I whoosh, I can be in Henry's photograph.
Thomas rattled and raced towards the bridge, just as Henry was huffing in. Thomas whistled loud and long.
Bust my buffers, Thomas! Steady on!
The photographer was so surprised he dropped his camera.
Oh no! My camera is smashed. The photographs are ruined.
Thomas gasped.
Cinders and ashes.
Then Sir Topham Hatt stepped from Henry's cab.
Thomas, what are you doing? I hear Percy's mail cars are derailed. James hit the buffers with his freight cars of flowers. And now the camera is broken.
I'm very sorry, sir. I was racing to be in all the photographs. And now, none of us are in any photographs. And it's all my fault.
I have another camera, but it's at the docks. There isn't time to pick it up now.
Thomas's funnel fizzed.
Yes, there is, sir. I will whoosh like the wind to bring your camera to you in time.
Thomas picked up the camera and pumped his pistons. On the way to the photographer, Thomas saw Percy.
I'm very sorry, Percy. I made you biff into the siding. I have to take this camera to the photographer. Then I will come back and help you.
Then Thomas saw James. James was cross.
I'm very sorry, James. I made you biff into the buffers. I have to take this camera to the photographer, then I will come back and help you.
The photographer was delighted to have his camera.
Here it is, sir.
Thank you, Thomas.
Now I must go and help my friends Percy and James.
Thomas's pistons pounded. Then Thomas saw Edward and Rocky. Edward was shunting Rocky to Brendam Docks.
Rocky, I need your help. Please, Edward, may I shunt Rocky to rescue Percy and James?
Of course. Happy to help, Thomas.
So Rocky was coupled up to Thomas, and off they raced to rescue James.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Rocky.
Then Thomas and Rocky helped Thomas's best friend Percy.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Rocky.
At last, Thomas chuffed into Tidmouth's sheds. It was late. He was tired.
The photographer has gone home now, Thomas.
I'm sure I was in more photographs than you, Thomas.
Thomas smiled.
I'm sure you were, Gordon. I had to help my friends, and that's more important to me than the photographs.
A few days later, Sir Topham Hatt called his engines to Knapford Station. The photographer was there. He was holding a big book.
This is the book of your railway, sir. Sodor, the Great Railway.
Thank you. I hope it is a book of really useful engines.
Then Thomas gasped.
Bubbling boilers!
The front cover was a picture of Thomas and Rocky rescuing Percy. Thomas puffed to Percy.
You and me, Percy. That's the best photograph of all.
On the island of Sodor, there are a lot of important places. There's Knapford Station, with its hustle and bustle. Tidmouth Sheds, to rest and relax. And then there's Brendam Docks. At Brendam, there's always something new to discover. One morning, Percy was at Brendam Docks. Percy had a special. He was to pick up new tables and chairs for Dowager Hatt's house. But the boat was late. Percy had to wait.
I don't like waiting, Cranky. Really useful engines huff and puff.
Cranky cranked.
Really useful engines learn to wait.
Then Salty trundled over.
There's a fog a-rolling in, me hearties. I can feel it in me pistons. You'd best look out for the monster of Brendam.
Percy's boiler bubbled.
Please, Salty, please tell us the tale of the monster of Brendam.
Salty smiled.
I'll tell ye quickly afore I goes to the dieselworks. Long ago, a thick fog rolled into Brendam. The engines couldn't see beyond their buffers. Then, in the fog, one old engine saw a shape. It was tall, like a tower. It turned and it twisted. It croaked and it creaked.
Percy's eyes were wide with wonder.
What was it?
They say as how it was the monster of Brendam. But it only comes out when the fog rolls in. Now, I must hurry.
And Salty whirred away to the dieselworks. Percy was excited.
Do you think we might see the monster of Brendam today, Cranky?
Cranky cranked.
There's no such thing as the monster of Brendam. Salty's being silly.
That made Percy cross.
Salty's not being silly. I'm sure there's a monster of Brendam. Fog's rolling in now. I'm sure I will find it.
And Percy puffed proudly away. It was foggy. Percy chuffed carefully. He could see Edward. Edward had coal to deliver.
Edward, would you like to come and find the monster of Brendam with me? Salty said the monster is tall, like a tower. It turns and it twists. It croaks and it creaks.
Bust my buffers. It sounds scary.
Then Percy gasped.
Fizzling fireboxes. There it is. It's tall like a tower.
And very scary.
Edward pumped his pistons, and with a whir of his wheels, he whooshed forward, straight into Rocky. Rocky was surprised. He dropped an oil drum right onto Edward's coal sacks. Coal dust flew everywhere.
Edward, what are you doing?
I'm very sorry, Rocky.
We thought you were the monster of Brendam.
Because you're tall, like a tower.
Don't worry, Edward. I'll go and get help.
And Percy chuffed away. Percy steamed slowly to the level crossing. Toby was there.
Hello, Percy. I don't like all this fog.
I do. I'm looking for the monster of Brendam. Salty said the monster is tall like a tower. It turns and it twists. It croaks and it creaks.
Trebling tracks. It sounds scary.
Then Percy stopped.
Bubbling boilers. There it is. It's turning and twisting.
It's the monster! Oh, me! Oh, my! I'm gone!
Toby rang his bell loud and long. Suddenly, a magnet dropped onto Toby's poles, and with a clang and a clatter, dropped them onto the tracks.
Oh, Toby! You scared me! What are you doing?
Butch! I'm very sorry.
We thought you were the monster of Brendam.
Because you turn and twist.
Don't worry, Butch. I'll go and get help.
And Percy chuffed away. Henry was at the water tower. Percy pulled up.
Henry, have you seen the monster of Brendam?
Henry was surprised.
Pumping pistons? A monster? What does it look like?
It's tall, like a tower. It turns and it twists. It croaks and it creaks.
It's over there. It's croaking and creaking. It's the monster of Brendam.
And Henry raced away like the wind. Percy steamed slowly forward.
Hello? Mr. Monster? Is that you?
Suddenly, the croaking and the creaking stopped.
Who's calling me a monster?
Percy peered into the fog. With a croak and a creak, Diesel oiled towards him. Percy was surprised.
Diesel! I thought perhaps you were the monster of Brendam. But maybe it's just that your axles need oiling.
Diesel spluttered.
Out of my way, you silly Steamy!
Percy wobbled and wheeshed. Then he whooshed. All the way back to Brendam Docks. Percy peered up to Cranky.
Did you find him then? The monster of Brendam?
No, I didn't.
Cranky cranked.
I told you there was no such thing.
You're right, Cranky. I didn't find the monster. I made Edward bash buffers with Brocky, Butch to drop Toby's poles, Henry to huff away scared, and Diesel to be very cross. I am a very silly Steamy.
Then Percy gasped.
I was so busy finding the monster, I didn't go back to help my friends.
First, Percy found Rocky and Edward.
I have to deliver the coal to Brendam, but I don't want to meet the monster.
Don't worry, Edward. There is no monster. Follow me.
Then he found Toby.
I have to deliver these poles to Brendam, but I don't want to beat the monster.
Don't worry, Toby. There is no monster. Follow me.
Percy, Edward, and Toby puffed into the docks. Then they saw Henry. Henry was whooshing and wheeshing with worry.
There he is.
It's tall, like a tower.
It turns and it twists. It croaks and it creaks.
The monster of Brendam!
Then, out of the fog, the monster spoke.
Where have you been, you silly Steamy? The tables and chairs are waiting.
Cranky!
Just then, Salty rolled back.
That's right, me hearties. Cranky, our very own monster of Brendam.
And everyone laughed, except Cranky, who cranked. On the island of Sodor, there are lots of farms. There are pig farms, dairy farms, and sheep farms. Farmer McCall is very proud of his sheep. One morning, Sir Topham had arrived at Tidmouth Sheds. It had been raining hard. Muddy puddles were everywhere.
Today is the Sodor Farmers' Fair. One of you must collect Farmer McCall's sheep and take them to the fairground. Whichever engine takes the sheep will have his photograph taken. The photograph will be on the front page of the Sodor Daily newspaper.
James's firebox fizzed.
Please, sir, can I take the sheep and have my photograph taken for the front page? After all, I am the cleanest and brightest red engine on Sodor.
Very well, James. You must go straight to Farmer McCall's farm. The fair starts at tea time. You mustn't be late.
So James chuffed off cheerfully. Farmer McCall was waiting for James at the farm.
Hello, James. Katie and my sheep are washed and ready to go. I want them to be the cleanest and smartest animals at the fair. Then they'll have their photograph on the newspaper's front page.
I will keep them as clean and smart as I am, sir. I, too, am to have my picture taken, and no one would want to photograph a dirty engine.
Good, James. Take the fastest and flattest track to the fair. You must be on time, and my sheep must not be joggled.
Katie bounded into James's cab.
See you at the fair, Farmer McCall!
And James puffed proudly away. James huffed to a halt at a junction. There were two tracks to the fairground. One track was wet and muddy from the rain. The other track was old and bumpy, but dry. James puffed, puzzled.
Farmer McCall told me to take the fast, flat track. But if I do that, I will get dirty, and so will Katie and the sheep. Then no one will want to put our photograph on the front page of the newspaper.
So, James didn't take the fast, flat, wet track. He took the bumpy, dry track instead. James jumped and juddered along the bumpy track.
Bubbling boilers! This track is very bumpy!
The sheep in the trailer jiggled, and the lock on the trailer gate rattled open. But James didn't know. He was too busy being the proudest and cleanest engine on Sodor. At Marin Station, James saw Emily collecting passengers. James wanted to tell Emily all about his special. He steamed to a stop.
Hello, Emily. I'm taking Farmer McCall's sheep and his dog Katie to the fairground. I'm going to have my photograph taken for the front page of the daily newspaper.
Emily gasped.
Oh my, James, how grand! Will Katie and Farmer McCall's sheep be in the photograph too?
They might be in the background.
Then there was trouble. The sheep pushed open the unlocked trailer gate. They clattered onto the platform.
Watch out, James! The sheep are running away!
Fenders and fireboxes! Come back here! Stop!
But the sheep weren't listening to James. They didn't want to go back in the trailer. Katie barked. James was stern.
No, Katie. You must stay clean in the cab. I will find the sheep.
And James steamed slowly forwards until he saw the sheep munching grass at the end of a field.
The fastest track to the end of the field is wet and muddy. I shall take the long track there and stay clean for the photographer.
James was pleased with his plan. So he chuffed carefully away on the very long track. He puffed up just as the last sheep was moving away.
Bother!
Katie barked. James snorted.
No, Katie. You must stay clean. I have another good idea. We will take the long, dry track to find the sheep.
James huffed to a halt by a field. The sheep were chewing the grass. Katie was happy to see her sheep. She barked and barked. James smiled.
Well done, Katie. My plan is working. When you bark, the sheep will come to you in my cab. All I have to do is wait and be clean.
Soon, all the sheep had gathered by James. Katie stopped barking.
Hurrah for me!
James was so pleased with himself, he let out the loudest and longest whistle ever. The sheep jumped in surprise. They ran and they raced away, right through the mud in the field.
Fenders and fireboxes! This is a disaster! I promised I would keep the sheep clean, and now they are dirty. I promised to take them to the fair, and now they are running away. I wanted to have my photograph on the front page of the Sodor newspaper, and now no one will want my photograph.
James sighed. Then he heard a rattle on the track. It was Thomas and Percy.
Hello, James. We're off to the fair. Farmer McCall is waiting for you there. He is very excited to see his sheep in the show.
And Thomas and Percy whooshed away.
Farmer McCall is waiting for me to bring Katie and his sheep. I cannot let him down. It doesn't matter if we're dirty. We have to be there.
Katie barked. She could see the sheep running away to the farm.
Run and round up your sheep, Katie. I will whoosh down the muddy track to meet you by the farm.
So James's driver let Katie go, and James whooshed like the wind down the muddy, wet track. Soon, James was no longer James the bright red engine. He was James the muddy, messy one. But James didn't mind. James pulled up to Farmer McCall's halt. Katie and the sheep were waiting for him. They were covered in mud. But James didn't mind.
All aboard for the fair! Now I will whoosh like the wind down the fast, flat, and wet track.
At last, James arrived at the fairground. He was covered in mud from fender to footplate.
James, whatever has happened to you?
Oh my, how splendid! A hard-working engine with his sheep and sheepdog straight from the fields. That's the photograph I need for the front page.
James beamed from buffer to buffer. So, a very muddy James had his photograph taken with Katie the muddy sheepdog, Farmer McCall, Sir Topham Hatt, and lots of muddy sheep. James had never been happier to be the dirtiest engine on Sodor.
Bill and Ben are tank engine twins. They look very alike. Very alike indeed.
Morning, Ben! Morning, Bill!
That's why they have nameplates on their sides. to show which one is Bill and which one is Ben. Bill and Ben like looking alike because that means they can play tricks on the other engines. One day, Bill and Ben were making their way along the main line when a very fast engine came across the junction in front of them and gave them a big surprise.
Who was that, Bill? I don't know, Ben. Thomas, did you see that very fast engine that just went past?
You mean Connor. He's one of the new streamlined engines bringing passengers from the mainland.
He must be very full of himself, racing about like that and surprising other engines.
Connor's not full of himself. He's a very friendly engine.
But Bill and Ben didn't listen to Thomas. Bill and Ben were passing through Henry's tunnel when... Hello there! Connor passed them again, coming back the other way.
Was that him again, Bill? I think it was, Ben. Ooh, maybe we should teach that Speedy Wheels a lesson, Ben. Maybe we should, Bill.
So Bill and Ben made a plan to play a trick on Connor. The next time Connor came across the bridge from the mainland, Bill was there waiting for him.
Hello, Speedy Wheels.
Hello there. I'm Connor.
And I'm Bill. How about a race, Connor? You and me, up to Ulfstead Castle.
I can't race you, Bill. That wouldn't be fair. I'm way too fast. Maybe if I only used one piston.
One piston? Nonsense. You go as fast as you like. You'll be surprised how fast I am. Very surprised.
Okay, Bill. If you say so.
Go!
The two engines hurried off, but Bill was quickly left far behind.
What a silly tank engine, thinking he could beat a fast, modern, streamlined engine like me.
Connor arrived at Ulfstead Castle. He was surprised.
What took you so long? I thought you'd be fast.
Connor thought it was the same engine he had seen near the bridge. But it wasn't Bill, it was Ben.
How did you do that? I didn't see you pass me.
I was probably going so fast, you would have just seen a blur. Don't worry about it. We can race again. Back to the bridge, perhaps.
You're on!
So the two engines got ready to race again.
Go!
This time, Connor wasn't taking any chances. He was so determined to beat the little tank engine that he didn't see the signal turn red until it was too late. Then there was trouble.
Henry! Watch out!
Connor, you need to watch where you're going. You almost hit me.
Connor's relief was short-lived, because just then, Sir Topham had arrived.
I don't know how they do things on the mainland, Connor, but safety comes first on my railway. No engine is allowed to pass through a red signal.
I'm very sorry, sir. I won't do it again, but...
Then Bill came along.
Oh, dear. What's happened here, sir?
And so did Ben.
Oh, no. Has Connor broken down, sir?
There are two of you. You played a trick on me. You aren't really faster than I am.
Bill and Ben. I might have known you two would be behind this. It's high time I put a stop to your tricks once and for all.
Sir Topham Hatt sent Bill to the Steamworks to be repainted a different color, so that everyone would be able to tell Bill and Ben apart.
Hello, Bill. I've been expecting you. I believe you're here to be repainted.
I'm not Bill. I'm Ben. You must want my twin, Bill. I'll go and get him.
Oh, no, you don't. You're trying to trick me, just like Sir Topham Hatt said you would.
So Bill was painted a different color.
Look at you!
Bill wasn't happy. Now he and Ben looked different. It was no fun at all. Then Ben had an idea. The next day, Ben came to the Steamworks when Victor wasn't there.
Hello, Kevin. I'm Bill. I'm here to be repainted. Sir Topham Hatt sent me.
Bill? But you were repainted yesterday.
Really? I don't remember that. Surely I should be a different colour if I'd been repainted.
Maybe you should wait, Bill, until Victor gets back.
Or perhaps, if you won't let me be repainted, I should tell Sir Topham Hatt.
No, don't do that. Oh, you'd better be repainted, Ben.
You mean Bill?
I mean, Bill.
I like the new colour, Ben. It really suits you. Suits you too, Bill.
What is going on here? Kevin?
By the time Victor came back, it was too late. Bill and Ben were already the same color.
Tricked you! Bye-bye!
Oh.
Sorry, boss.
Bill and Ben were on their way again when they saw Connor up ahead.
Oh, look, Bill. There's Connor. Maybe he wants to race with a freshly painted engine. Well, Ben, I believe I was the one sent to be repainted. I'll see if he'd like to race back to the Steamworks. Hello, Connor. Recognise me? Care to race again?
Now that I know there's only one of you that colour, sure.
Back to the Steamworks, then.
I'll see you when you finally get there.
Maybe sooner than you think.
Montague is a little green tank engine. But everyone calls him Duck because the other engines used to say he waddled. Before Duck came to the island of Sodor, he worked on the mainland, on the Great Western Railway. Duck always works hard, and he always does things the Great Western way. One morning, Harold the helicopter was rescuing some climbers from the rocks near Callan Castle.
Hang on, folks. I'll have you down in no time.
He picked up the climbers and flew them to safety. But when he went to take off again,
oh no! My rotors are jammed! I can't take off!
so Duck was called to Callan Castle. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting for him.
Duck, you are to take Harold to the Sodor Search and Rescue Center to be repaired.
Yes, sir.
But, sir, I'm so tall, and my floats are so wide. How can I travel by rail? I don't want to bash into things.
Don't worry, Harold. Thomas will be Duck's back engine. He'll keep an eye out to make sure you will fit through any low or narrow gaps.
Now, don't be sad, Harold. We'll get you there in no time.
I know, Duck. I just like being up in the sky. You see things differently up there.
As they were traveling along, an idea flew into Thomas's funnel.
Duck, I know how we can make Harold feel better. We can show him all the sights of Sodor from the ground.
That sounds like fun.
But Duck wasn't so keen.
There's only two ways to do things, Thomas. The Great Western Way and the wrong way. The Great Western Way is to go directly and promptly to the Sodor Search and Rescue Center without dilly-dallying.
And without any fun.
Thomas! Narrow bridge!
Okay, you're clear. Maybe we could take you past the animal park, Harold. You could see all the animals close up.
That would be nice.
Sorry, Harold, but the animal park is not on our way.
I know! We could take Harold across the Sodor suspension bridge.
I must say, that sounds very exciting.
But it's still not on our way. We must take you directly and promptly to the Sodor Search and Rescue Center. It's the Great Western Way.
Duck was sticking to the Great Western Way, and that was that. This made Thomas cross.
Harold, I really want to show you Knapford Station, but I don't think Duck will let me.
Then Thomas had another idea.
Duck, I forgot to tell you. We need to go to Knapford Station. We have to collect the engineer who's going to fix Harold.
All right, Thomas. If we need to go to Knapford Station, we must go there directly and promptly.
So Duck headed toward Knapford Station.
Wow! Look at that!
Just wait till you see inside. It's... Stop!
What's the matter?
Just stop! Sorry, but Harold's too tall to go into the station.
But... Express coming through! Helicopter on the line? Harold's too wide to let me come out. Now I'll never be on time.
Sir Topham Hatt couldn't believe his eyes.
Duck? Thomas? What are you doing here?
We have to collect the engineer who's going to fix Harold, sir.
What nonsense! The engineer is waiting for Harold at the Search and Rescue Center.
Thomas?
Oh.
Now, Duck was cross with Thomas.
You tricked me, Thomas. But from now on, we will be sticking to the Great Western Way of doing things. We will be going
directly and promptly to the Search and Rescue Center. I wish I could have shown you more things, Harold.
Don't worry, Thomas. You tried.
Thomas looked up ahead. He could see they were approaching a tunnel. He knew that Harold's rotors were too wide to fit through.
Stop, Duck! We need to go the other way!
I'm not falling for another one of your tricks, Thomas.
But, Duck, look out! Duck, stop! Oh!
Harold's blades were wedged against the tunnel walls. The engines knew they couldn't move Harold any further without help. Soon, engineers arrived to free Harold. Then Sir Topham Hatt arrived as well. He was very cross.
Oh, Harold needs even more repair. You two have caused confusion and delay twice in one day. I hope you have learnt your lesson now.
Yes, sir.
We have, sir.
Well then, you must both get Harold to the Sodor Search and Rescue Center now!
It wasn't long before the engineers managed to free Harold. Thomas and Duck pulled him out of the tunnel.
I'm sorry I didn't listen to you, Thomas. This was all my fault.
It was my fault, too. I shouldn't have tricked you in the first place. Now, let's get Harold to the Search and Rescue Center.
But how do we get to the Search and Rescue Center without going through any tunnels?
I know a route we can take. We can go the Thomas way.
What's the Thomas way?
Let me go in front and I'll show you.
So the two engines swapped jobs. Duck checked that there was nothing too narrow for Harold to get through. And Thomas led them on a special route to the Search and Rescue Center. It wasn't as prompt or direct, but it didn't go through any tunnels. Thomas and Duck arrived at the Sodor Search and Rescue Center. The engineer was waiting to repair Harold.
Bye, Thomas. Bye, Duck. And thank you.
You're welcome, Harold.
You knew something, Thomas. I think there might be 3 ways of doing things.
Really?
The Great Western Way, the Wrong Way, and the Thomas Way. But the Great Western Way is usually the best.
Henry and Hiro are both very strong engines. They can pull very heavy loads. One day, Henry and Hiro went to fill up their tenders with coal.
Nearly done, Henry.
I hope there's enough coal left for me. We've got lots of heavy cars to pick up.
Don't worry, Henry. There will be.
Henry and Hiro picked up their very heavy load from Farquhar Quarry. Then they hurried to the docks where they were needed right away. But as they made their way across the island, the steam from Hiro's funnel began to look very dirty.
Hiro! Hiro! There's dark smoke coming from your funnel!
And from yours, Henry.
I wonder what's wrong.
Just then, Duck rolled past, pulling some empty coal cars.
Oh dear. Looks like you two got some of the bad coal that arrived today.
Bad coal?
I've been sent to get some fresh coal to replace it.
Maybe we should wait until the fresh coal is ready.
No, Henry. We can still run on this coal. We still have steam. We have to keep on puffing, Henry. We need to be really useful engines.
Henry wanted to be a really useful engine, but he was very worried about the bad coal.
I'm sorry, Hiro, but I'm going to go back to the sheds until the good clean coal gets here.
So Henry left Hiro with all the cars and went back to the sheds. Hiro was determined to keep going, only now he didn't have Henry to help him.
Oh, dear. There are too many cars for me to pull on my own.
Then, Hiro had an idea.
I can take half the cars on my own and come back for the others later.
Half of Hiro's cars were uncoupled and left on a siding. As Hiro puffed along the tracks, his steam was smokier than ever.
Yuck! What a horrible smell!
Sorry, Gordon. I think I had some bad coal.
Then perhaps you should have your firebox cleaned out.
No time for that, Gordon. I have an important delivery.
Hiro puffed on, determined to get his job done. But as he headed for the docks, a strange noise was coming from his firebox.
Oh no! I'm clinking and clanking now.
What a racket! You sound like you've got your coupling rods in a twist.
No time to talk, Thomas. I have more cars to collect.
Everywhere Hiro went, people looked at him and wondered what the noise was and what the smell was. Hiro was determined. He picked up the rest of his cars and rushed back to the docks. At last, Hiro arrived at the docks. He had delivered all of the cars. But then Sir Topham Hatt arrived.
Ah, Hiro, there you are. I need you to collect some iron girders from the smelter's yard for this ship. They will be very heavy, so you'll need Henry to be your back engine.
Yes, sir. But...
But what, Hiro? You need to get back quickly. The ship leaves at 4.
Hiro knew he needed to get his firebox cleaned, but he couldn't say no to Sir Topham Hatt.
Yes, sir.
But Hiro, why is your steam so dark and smoky?
Hiro just kept on puffing and clunking and clanking all the way to Tidmouth's sheds.
Henry, I have taken all the cars from the quarry, but I need you to help me now.
You were able to take all the cars, even with your bad coal?
It wasn't easy, Harry, but sometimes you have to keep on puffing.
Well, I did want to wait for the good clean coal to arrive, but if you can keep on puffing, Hiro, maybe I can keep on puffing too.
So Hiro and Henry set off to the smelter's yard. Hiro and Henry collected the flatbeds loaded with heavy iron girders. Hiro pulled and Henry pushed.
These are very heavy flatbeds, Hiro.
Keep puffing, Henry. We must get to the docks before the ship leaves.
Henry and Hiro puffed and chuffed. But now, Henry's firebox started to make some strange noises too.
My firebox is making lots of noise, Hiro. Maybe we should go and see if the new coal has arrived yet.
No, Henry. We don't have time. The ship leaves at 4.
Then, as Hiro and Henry puffed up Gordon's Hill, there was a very strange noise. But it wasn't Henry that stopped puffing. It was Hiro.
Hiro? Why have you stopped?
My firebox is blocked. I've broken down. I'm sorry, Henry. You were right. We should have tried to get the new coal. Now we will never get to the docks on time.
Don't worry, Hiro. You taught me to keep on puffing, so that is what I'm going to do.
Henry puffed as hard as he could, and slowly they started to move up the hill. Henry was pushing all the flatbeds, and Hiro as well.
Well done, Henry! Keep on puffing!
Henry clunked and clanked and clattered and rattled. His wheels were wobbly and his axles ached, but he kept on puffing. The dock workers cheered for Henry when they saw him shunting Hiro and the flatbeds. Then Sir Topham Hatt came to see the engines.
Well done. You got here just in time, Hiro. And you managed to keep on puffing, even with a very heavy load and bad coal.
Thank you, sir. I couldn't have done it without Henry. He kept puffing even after I broke down.
Yes, but Hiro, you were the one who taught me to keep on puffing, no matter what.
Well then, it's well done to both of you. Now you must both go to the Steamworks to be repaired.
Henry and Hiro soon had their fireboxes cleaned out. They had some fresh new coal. They were happy to be getting back to work.
Hiro, you were right. Sometimes you can keep puffing, even with bad coal.
But it's much nicer with good, clean coal.
So let's be really useful and get puffing again.